Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. Uh, I, as usual, I appreciate you taking your time with me. Uh, so today is January 29th, 2024. I have several news updates to share with you. I will start with embargo in Oromia. So it's on different social media. Now the embargo is effective starting today in Oromia, Ethiopia. And we don't know, there is no ending date, but the starting date is announced on different social media, different YouTubes. So what is the embargo? Who announced this embargo? It says Kero or Oromo Youth announced this embargo or declared embargo on transportation services and all kind of commercial activities or bringing farm product to the cities and the towns. All these are under embargo until the time limit is announced. It's a very serious announcement, and this embargo give exceptions for the humanitarian activities, especially for ambulances and other similar transportation activities. So there is an exception for that, except that it is a very serious warning for those transportation activities leaving the capital city Addis Ababa, heading to different Oromia regions. So it's a very serious warning for those transportation activities, including three-wheel taxis, bajads, or all kind of activities are restricted until further notice. And Oromo Liberation Army is the one enforcing this use embargo, this declared embargo in Oromia. So the forces behind it. So those, businessmen, owning transportation, all kind of, activities, they should be aware. This is not a joke. This is a very serious warning declared by Oromo Youth, but enforced by Oromo Liberation Army. So all activities are restricted, and also Oromos are, encouraged to support through social media and whatever they can. This is the purpose of this embargo is to challenge the government, to force this government to have, to stop mass detention, intimidation, killing in Oromia. So it's a very good cause, and we should all announce it. We should also give warning for the international community, those who are tourists living in Ethiopia or want to get out from Addis Ababa. So they have to know this is we are under embargo in Oromia region. All activities are restricted except humanitarian exception or activities. The other thing is Oromia region President Mr. Shimalis Abdisa again reiterate his interest for a third round of talk with Oromo Liberation Army. So he say his government is open for peace talk as long as there is, OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, accepts the requirement. The requirement is accept the constitution of the Ethiopian government and, loosen its standing against, his demand. So as long as these are fulfilled, the Oromia regional governments, Mr. Shimalis Abdisa, say we welcome third round of talk with Oromo Liberation Army to settle the issue in the country. So we will see if Oromo Liberation Army will respond to this call, and we are open for peace. Really, peace is good for everyone. Everyone. The conflict in Amara region still continue. No clear winner. Fano militia claim victory in various towns and the cities, and the government is counter-claiming its victory. So there is no clear winner, but the conflict is still waging. No sign of peace in that region. So that's the update I have. So when we have clear winner with with facts, with proof, especially if we get from independent media, we'll report to you any victory. So we'll continue with a video. Then I have others in reading. But I will start with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia in Italy for Italian African Summit. Is happening now. And he also received an award from FAO, World Food Program. That is, it's a serious matter, but I don't know how they come up with this award. Ethiopians are suffering through inflation, through shortage of food, but FAO gave this award for this prime minister, recognized his activities in Ethiopia. I don't know what they may be talking about, a different country or really talking about Ethiopia. We don't know, but they awarded him, they recognized him, they welcomed him to this recognition. I don't know, so they may be opening up their arms and welcoming this prime minister, which is accused of all kind of genocide in Tigray and in Amara, in Oromia, and for all chaos in that country. But World Food Program, awarded him with a recognition, and appreciate his activities, in agriculture, producing maybe, I don't know. That's it's a very serious matter, but he got it. He got recognition, but FAO may be talking about another country. They don't have credible evidence to award him. Maybe they just want to give him publicity. Thank you again. Let's listen to and watch these videos. Then I'll come back to other news and share with you in reading. Then I have a couple of videos later on. Thank you again for sharing your time. Let's go to the videos. This is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed arriving in Italy and received by Prime Minister of Italy, a lady. There is a ceremony heading to the Prime Minister office. There we go, this is the Italian Prime Minister. Warm welcome. So this is for the Italy African Summit. It is underway in Italy.
In In a ceremony hosted by the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in Rome, Italy, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been awarded the prestigious FAO Agricola Medal, according to the organization, for his vision, leadership, and commitment to food security and nutrition and the pursuit of innovative solutions in wheat self-sufficiency in the context of fast-changing and challenging circumstances. The Prime Minister received the Agricola Medal in the presence of high-level delegates of various countries, representatives of international organizations, diplomatic missions in Italy, and private sector representatives. For the past 5 years, Ethiopia has been making critical investments in the agricultural sector and pursuing wheat self-sufficiency endeavors, marking significant growth across major commodities.
Okay.
Michigan boasts an Arab American population of over.
Okay, I'll come back to the Michigan voters video later on. So here we go, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed awarded for his leadership, for his vision, for increasing food security, and for for investment for the last 5 years in agriculture. They are joking. They are joking. Really got a vision or leadership and increasing food security. I don't know. They are talking about maybe another country. Ethiopia is not in that kind of visionary leadership. We don't have visionary leadership. We know as a joke. But anyway, they recognized him. So it's a news. We have to cover it anyway. Okay, let's see. Okay. So Addis Standard also has a news on this Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed award. Let me read quickly. It says, Prime Minister Abiy's FAO award sparks mixed reaction, draws criticism to the UN agency. Yeah. The UN Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, has awarded Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed the prestigious Agricola Medal for his leadership and commitment to food security. Really. The Agricola Medal, according to FAO, honors distinguished personalities for their commitment and support to the promotion of sustainable food production, world food security, and international cooperation. Yes. So sad. So sad. Because the reality on the ground does not reflect this. Does not reflect sustainable food production, world food security, and international cooperation. After receiving the medal at a ceremony held in Italy's capital on Sunday, Prime Minister Abiy posted on X expressing his gratitude to the UN agency for, in quotation, bestowing the prestigious Agricola Medal for our efforts toward the attainment of food security, end of quotation. In quotation again, our focus on high value and industrial crops is yielding promising results, and we are committed to our food sovereignty path, end of quotation, he said. The award was welcomed by supporters of the Prime Minister as, in quotation, well deserved, end quotation, recognition for his initiative of wheat and self-sufficiency, which saw Ethiopia export wheat reportedly for the first time last year. The Prime Minister's foreign policy advisor and former Ethiopian permanent representative to the UN, Taye Asselassie, applauded FAO for recognizing Prime Minister Abiy's leadership in transforming the agricultural sector. In quotation, indeed, when the lives of farmers improve, so is the country's. End of quotation, said Taye on X, formerly known as Facebook, Twitter, I mean. However, the award also produced strong criticism against the FAO for accolading the leader of a country that is currently witnessing one of the worst droughts and hundreds of its citizens dying of hunger. Currently, 6.6 million people in Ethiopia are reported by the government to be in need of urgent food aid due to the effects of ongoing drought. The government is pleading for 9.2 billion birr to provide emergency food assistance for those in need. That's why I'm saying FAO is talking a different country. If it's talking about Ethiopia, they should, have all these numbers. Ethiopia is begging for food due to very serious drought. In the hard-hit northern region of Tigray and Amara, hundreds have been reported dead due to hunger. Regional officials in Tigray said close to 400 individuals, including 25 children, have succumbed to starvation within a single month. In quotation, the irony of the international order has reached a new level now, with the FAO, a United Nations entity founded to ensure food security and improve agriculture, awarding the head of the regime in Addis Ababa, where thousands, particularly farmers in Tigray and Amara, are dying of starvation. End of quotation. Mahari Tadele Maru, a leading scholar on governors and a professor in European University Institute, posted on X. In quotation, FAO and its leadership is condoning the atrocities, including the deliberate use of starvation and the destruction of agricultural assets of farmers in various parts of Ethiopia. End of quotation, Mahari asserted. While some social media users defended the Prime Minister, posting that climate change, among other various factors, may have exacerbated food insecurity, others made him accountable, presenting food insecurity as a policy failure, and called the award, in quotation, a mockery, end of quotation, to the millions of starving Ethiopians. I agree with this one. It's a mockery. Others drew contrast between the rationales of the award and a recent FAO WFP early warning on hunger, which classified Ethiopia under, in quotation, hunger hotspots of very high concern, end of quotation, with 20.1 million people facing acute food insecurity. So I don't know where FAO got his facts about Abiy Ahmed and awarded him this award, recognizing him for increasing food security. I don't know. Maybe they just welcome him with all his crimes, accused of genocide and all these human rights violations, and still going on in Amara and Oromia region. It's a failed leadership, but they say it's a visionary leadership. That is not true. We don't have visionary leadership in Ethiopia at this time. We have too much chaos. This is about the United Nations Security Council to convene over Ethiopia-Somalia tension despite opposition from Ethiopia. This is again I got from Addis Standard. UN Security Council members will convene this afternoon for closed consultation to address the situation between Ethiopia and Somalia under the, in quotation, peace and security in Africa, end of quotation, agenda item. They may be considering already because we are already in the afternoon, but it's in a closed session. According to a think tank, the Security Council report, France, holding the Council's presidency for January, organized the consultation upon Somalia's request in a letter dated 23rd January, citing Article 35 of the UN Charter. So Somalia brought this case. Somalia expressed concerns over the recent Memorandum of Understanding signed on 1st January 2024 between Ethiopia and Somaliland, granting Ethiopia a 20-kilometer naval base lease for 50 years in exchange for diplomatic recognition for Somaliland. In its 23rd January letter to the Council, Somalia argued the MOU, in quotation, constitutes an unlawful transgression, end of quotation, of Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity, considering Somaliland as its constituent part. That is in quotation. In response, Ethiopia sent a letter to the Council on January 26, expressing willingness to engage in dialogue under the AU, but argued that the UN Security Council should not discuss the issue since it is being considered by the AUPSC. That's in quotation. Ethiopia outlined in the letter that the Memorandum of Understanding, in quotation, paves the way for Ethiopia to secure access to a sea outlet based on commercial basis and mutually acceptable terms in line with international norms. End of quotation. Despite Addis Abeba's insistence during today's closed consultation, Special Envoy of the Secretary General for the Horn of Africa, Hanan Serwa Tet, is expected to brief Council members, offering an opportunity for members to exchange views and discuss the way forward to preserve regional peace, stability, and security. Several Council members, including China, the UK, and the United States, as well as the European Union, previously expressed concerns about escalating tension and stressed the importance of dialogue, cooperation, and de-escalation. On Friday, Ethiopia's ruling party, PP, decided to bring the Memorandum of Understanding, in quotation, to a practical agreement, end of quotation, while simultaneously giving attention to the principles of give and take to secure additional options to port access with other neighboring countries. So thanks Addis Standard for that reporting. This one is about suspending funding for UN Agency for Palestinian refugee is a historic mistake, say Lebanon. Lebanese Foreign Minister Abdullah Bo Habib on Monday termed the suspension of funding for the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, in acronym UNRWA, as, in quotation, a historic mistake. Bo Habib held talks in the capital, Beirut, with US Ambassador Lisa Johnson. In quotation, suspending aid for UNRWA is a historic mistake that will deprive Palestinian refugees of any hope for a better life and a future, and will constitute a threat to regional security and the security of host countries and donor countries alike. End of quotation. He said during the meeting, as cited by a foreign ministry statement. At least 12 countries, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Canada, Finland, Australia, the United Kingdom, Netherlands, the US, France, Austria, and Japan have suspended funds for UNRWA, which was established in 1949 to cater to Palestinian refugees across the Middle East. They are so quick to act. They are so quick. We have been calling for ceasefire for more than 3 months. They never acted like this quickly. When it comes to defunding the Palestinian Refugee Service, or the organization or the agencies giving livelihood for Palestinians, they are very quick to defund it. They got excuses from Israeli intelligence service, and they are now quick to cut the funding. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. This is only making Israel happy. Nobody else. They conducted endless bombardment. Now they came up with some kind of intelligence. US, UK, all these countries, Canada, Germany, all of them rush to cut the funding. They want to suffocate Palestinians. That's crazy. The move came amid Israeli claims that some of the agency's employees were involved in the 7th October attacks on Israel. UNRWA said it terminates contacts with several employees following the Israeli allegation. Israel has repeatedly equated UNRWA staff with Hamas members in effort to discredit them, providing no proof of the claims, while lobbying hard to have UNRWA closed, as it is the only UN agency to have a specific mandate to look after the basic needs of Palestinian refugees. Yeah, they are successful now. Israel is happy. They destroyed the country. They destroyed so many lives. Now they are destroying. Maybe they are planning to destroy another life through cutting humanitarian aid. So far, they are successful. If the agency no longer exists, argues Israel, then the refugee issue must not longer exist. And the legitimate right for Palestinian refugees to return to their land will be unnecessary. That is the agreement of Israel. That's crazy. Israel has denied that right of return since late 1940s, even though its own membership of the UN was made conditional upon Palestinian refugees being allowed to return to their home and land. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged donor states to reconsider their decision to suspend funding for the Refugees Agency. The Israeli accusations came as the International Court of Justice, ICJ, on Friday found South Africa's claim that Israel is committing genocide plausible. The court issued interim order urging Israel to stop obstructing aid deliveries into Gaza and to improve the humanitarian situation. Okay, now how they can do it? They already, blocked this humanitarian organization. So this is more pressure on Palestinians to die of starvation. And instead of following the court order, Israel came with some kind of intelligence. UNRWA employees involved in October 7 attack. If that is true, those involved should be brought to justice. But the whole organization losing funding, that's another war crime. Genocide, really. Floating the ICJ's provisional rulings, Israel continues its onslaught on the Gaza Strip, where at least 26,637 Palestinians have been killed, mostly women and children, and 65,387 others injured since 7 October, according to Palestinian health authorities. Israel says nearly 1,200 people have been killed in the Hamas attack. However, since then, it has been revealed by Haaretz that helicopters and the tanks of the Israeli army had, in fact, killed many of the 1,139 soldiers and the civilians claimed by Israeli to have been killed by the Palestinian resistance. The Israeli offensive has left 85% of Gaza population internally displaced. 85%. Amid acute shortage of food, clean water, and medicine. Within 60% of the enclave's infrastructure was damaged or destroyed, according to the United Nations. That is horrible, even to report, really. That one credit Middle East Monitor. This one is United States reiterates support for multinational security support mission to Haiti. This is a press statement. The United States commitment to the Haitian people remains unwavering. We reaffirm our support of ongoing international effort to deploy a multinational security support mission for Haiti, as requested by Haiti and authorized by UN Security Council Resolution 2699, and renew our calls for the international community to urgently provide support for this mission. The United States acknowledges the ruling by the Republic of Kenya's High Court regarding the deployment of Kenyan police in support of the multinational security support mission to Haiti, and the government of Kenya's stated intent to challenge this ruling. Yes, Kenya refused to send. The Kenyan court said, no, we don't want to send the Kenyan police to Haiti. Now the government of Kenya is fighting that ruling. So it is urgent that the international community respond to the unprecedented level of gang violence and destabilizing forces preying upon the Haitian people. At the same time, we call for the restoration of democratic order through an inclusive political process in Haiti. We continue to urge Haitian stakeholders to reach consensus on power sharing and inclusive governance. The only legitimate path to long-term peace and stability is through free and fair elections. That is State Department. This is about tension in Middle East. So I think this is reported by different media yesterday. 3 U.S. soldiers, servicemen killed, and I think more than a dozen of them injured. This is on Syria-Jordan border. They attacked. Let me read what it says. Drone strike kills 3 U.S. troops in Jordan. Risks growth of regional war over Israel assault on Gaza. The Pentagon is accusing Iranian-backed militants of killing 3 U.S. soldiers in drone strikes at a base in Jordan along the Syrian border, making the troops the first U.S. armed forces killed by enemy fire in the region since October 7. A group called the Islamic Resistance in Iraq has claimed responsibility for the attack and said attacks would escalate if the U.S. continue to support Israel during the latter's destruction of Gaza. President Biden vowed the U.S. would respond. In quotation, there will be more of these attacks for sure, end of quotation, says Palestinian-American journalist Rami Kahour, who lays out the simmering regional conflict and questioned U.S. foreign policy running counter to American opinion and the strategic goals. In quotation, all these actions, are they for the sake of Israel, or is this really about U.S. strategic interest? Credit democracynow.org. So that's Biden should answer. Is it for the best interest of U.S. or for the best interest of Israel? We are suffering, losing our servicemen and losing our money and our diplomatic standing in the global stage. This again from democracynow.org. It says Palestinians charge genocide in U.S. court. Biden, Blinken sued for backing Israeli's war on Gaza. Yes. The Biden administration is on trial in the United States for failure to prevent, in quotation, unfolding genocide, end of quotation, in Gaza. Yes, unfolding genocide in Gaza. On Friday, lawyers for the Biden administration argue the court lacks the proper jurisdiction to decide the case, while Palestinians and Americans testified about atrocities committed by Israel with American support. In quotation, I cannot think of another time where in a U.S. federal court, Palestinians have been on the witness stand, one after the other, describing their experiences under Israeli occupation, in quotation, says Diala Shamas, senior staff attorney at the Center for the Constitutional Rights, which filed the case against President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin in November. In quotation, being Palestinians in America necessitates our involvement in this case, end of quotation, says Laila El Haddad, a Palestinian writer who testified in court about her family's experience under Israeli assault. In quotation, it obligates us to do everything we can to take every possible recourse, including legal recourse, to try and put an end to this, since it is our tax dollars. I agree. So Biden, I hope he will be found guilty, really, because he repeatedly ignored for ceasefire. Americans, uh, you know, peacefully came to streets in different states, California, Missouri, New York, Chicago, Boston, everywhere, and around the world. Citizens around the world called for immediate ceasefire. The U.S. government, you know, continued its veto in the UN Security Council and continued its support for Israel. You know, just I never seen, I never seen a president like this. Just keep ignoring, this 26,000 plus is deaths of Palestinians is just a number for him. Maybe he is manipulated. He's too old to make clear judgment. We don't know. He's about 8 years old now, and so advisors can manipulate him. Pro-Israeli advisors can play a game around him, and easily can be convinced because the judgment is very down at this age, and he's running again for president. So he's losing Muslim Americans and Arab Americans in this case. That is the end of the reading. Thank you again. I have a couple of videos to share with you and end today's presentation. Okay, just let's listen to the first video. Arab Americans in Michigan disapprove of Biden's handling the Gaza war. Let's listen.
Over 250,000. Most of them are in Detroit's suburbs. 3 cities in this area are led by Arab American mayors, a first in the United States. All that makes this community a coveted voting bloc by Democrats, and especially a president whose 2020 victory in Michigan hinged on their support.
Joe Biden will not get our votes if he stands on his head from now until November. It's done.
Minutes before our interview with the publisher of the Arab American News in Dearborn, Biden's campaign manager, Julie Chavez Rodriguez, had come to explore the potential for a presidential visit here.
I just said it to his campaign manager, that he has to do better than Jesus, bring in thousands from dead.
Arab Americans say they're abandoning Biden in November's election because of his administration's continued unconditional support for Israel in its war on Gaza and his downplaying of Palestinian casualties. Biden has yet to call for a ceasefire despite mounting domestic pressure.
Who are the Arab Americans in Michigan? They're Palestinians, Lebanese, Iraqis, Syrian, and Yemenis. And you're bombing the hell out of them. This president is destroying their country. They will not meet with her.
Across town, we meet with Dearborn businessman Nasser Baidoun, who's running for the U.S. Senate.
You have a U.S. president that's responsible for the death of 30,000. To us, that's not a president. That's a criminal.
Similar statements made by a handful of progressive Democrats in Congress have led the pro-Israel lobby to spend tens of millions of dollars to try and unseat them.
I was approached by the former chairman of the Democratic Party from Michigan, and they offered me $20 million if I drop out of the race, run against Rashida Tlaib.
That former chairman, Lon Johnson, denies he made the offer to Baidoun on behalf of the Israeli lobby.
Wow.
The other Democratic candidate for the Senate seat, Hill Harper, made the same claim weeks earlier.
When I got my citizenship in 1984 from President Reagan, that Republican president told us that now you became an American citizen. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget your culture and your heritage. Keep it and share it with Americans and make America great again.
That slogan now attached to the very likely Republican candidate in this year's presidential race, one who has openly disparaged Arab Americans, many of whom are Muslims and immigrants. There are no definitive answers here about how exactly this community will approach the ballot, only a commitment that Biden is not welcome to return. Yasmin Al-Sabawi, TRT World, Dearborn, Michigan.
Okay, I think one more.
Searching for a reliable used sedan? Shop the area's best selection of affordable vehicles at
Tired
unbeatable
of this
prices.
advertisement.
Want a vehicle with low mileage?
The accusations that Israel has made against certain staff of the UNRWA should have waited until investigation has come up with results. We were extremely shocked that certain number of countries have decided to suspend its aid or their aid for the UNRWA. The countries that have announced this suspension, their aid amounts to 70% of the annual budget of the United Nations Relief and Work Agency. This measure is extremely dangerous, and it is our hope that it will be reversed.
I hope so.
The suspension of aid is in line with the Israeli plans for the forced evacuation of our people from Gaza into Egypt. The suspension of aid comes at the most difficult times, at a time when the International Court of Justice has called for an immediate supply and increase supplies and international aid into Gaza. UNRWA provide aid for 1.7 million Palestinians in Gaza. At this critical moment, aid is more needed, and UNRWA, as I said, contribute largely to this aid. UNRWA is the accumulative memory of the Palestinian refugees and also a symbol of Palestinian right to return in accordance and in line with United Nations Resolution 194.
That's why the Israeli intelligence Mossad cracked down and successfully convinced US, Germany, Canada, Austria, Australia, New Zealand, quickly with one phone call, they just cut the funding without even having any meeting, any Security Council meeting or a European Union meeting, no meeting, just phone call from Israel. And we found this evidence, please cut the funding. All agree, and including Japan, they cut funding for UNRWA, the purpose to help Israel and to create more famine, in Gaza. And Israel is celebrating this as a victory through genocidal war and a victory through intelligence, and accusing UNRWA, so they are successful by defunding UNRWA means defunding the Palestinians people. So they may die in thousands if this thing is not reversed. US Biden, you see how quickly he defund. He was asked for many months to declare ceasefire. He refused. Now something come from Israel, he quickly authorized. That is a situation we are in. I hope they will reverse it for the sake of humanity, if they care. If not, if they consider just Palestinians as numbers, they don't care. They don't do it. So we might witness further deaths and destruction. I hope FAO also will have concrete evidence about Ethiopia food, security, instead of rushing to award Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And they should go on the ground and see how Ethiopians are suffering under this leadership. That's all I'm going to say for today. Thank you again for sharing your time. Subscribe, like, and so that we can increase our sharing news update about global community. That's all I'm going to say. Be safe. So long.